Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Kia ora, welcome to Rere News. I'm Tristan.
And I'm Shorty. And today's story is a new crime wave is sweeping the country in the form of woolen graffiti. Scientists have invented an invisibility cloak. We helped them find it and the latest in weather around the country. But first, a story that will turn your world upside down. Take it away, please.
If you think the world is getting more and more topsy-turvy, it turns out you're right. Builders in Germany have built an upside-down house, and before you think they may have read the plans upside down, they did it on purpose. The wacky abode was bought as a tourist attraction, as well as being a comment on the state of the world. The house is 23 feet tall and rests on its roof and has steel beams in the attic. Inside the house there are beds screwed into the ceiling, upside-down wardrobes, and upside-down kitchen, and even an upturned bathroom, though it's not known if anyone has tried to have a bath in it or go to the toilet. Normally a house like this will take 3 weeks to build. This one took over 4 months because workers kept getting confused by that strange angles of the walls. Many tourists visiting the house complain of feeling sick and dizzy after just a few minutes inside. We now cross over to our reporter Tashana, who is inside the house. How are you feeling, Tashana?
Here in Claudia, and I'm feeling a bit queasy. So what made you decide to build an upside-down house?
It was too ordinary building an ordinary house, so I made an unordinary house.
What comment do you feel that the house makes about the state of the roof?
That some people think that I threw out the balance of the world.
What are some of the challenges of living in a house where everything's upside down?
Probably going to the bathroom and sleeping because you have to hold on or else you'll fall.
How did your pets feel about it?
We have 6 bats and 3 cats.
The cats claw onto the roof, so they're alright, and the bats, they just hang upside down, so they cope.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tashana on OnTV News. Back to you, Tristan and Shorty, in the studio.
Thanks, Tashana. Even watching that makes me feel like vomiting. And now for a story that is truly out of sight. Look out, Harry Potter. The world of science is catching up to the world of magic. Scientists in Europe have created a 3D invisibility cloak which can hide objects by bending light waves. It has been found that light can be controlled using special tiny crystals that makes objects disappear. So far, scientists have made small objects such as coins disappear, but hope that it won't be long before they are hiding cars, planes, and even people. People have always dreamed of making themselves invisible. One top scientist says the possibilities are endless, and we are very excited. However, since inventing the invisibility cloak, the scientists have been having trouble finding it. As soon as we put it down somewhere, it just disappears, the inventor of the cloak said. It appears they are having trouble finding other things too, like their lunch, which they think may be underneath the cloak. What will this invention actually be used for? Hoping to see through the reasons behind the invisibility cloak, here is our on-the-spot reporter Israel with more on this story. Israel?
Hello, I'm Israel, and with me is a scientist that invented the invisibility cloak. Hi guys, and thanks for joining us today. What made you want to invent an invisibility cloak?
Well, we saw the latest Harry Potter movie and we thought we'd give it a go trying to make one.
Can Can you show me how the invisibility cloak works? Well,
Well, you simply just put it on and your body disappears.
well, what do you hope the cloak will be used for?
Fun and games like hide and go seek and tiggy, but hopefully no one will steal it to use it for crimes.
What will happen if you lose the invisibility cloak?
Well, if you notice that you slip over, you've slipped on your invisibility cloak.
Well, that makes things very clear. Thanks for joining us. Back to you, Tristan, in the studio.
Thanks, Israel. And now how's this for an interesting yarn? A new wave of graffiti crime is covering the country, thanks to an underground gang known as the Midnight Knitters. These wool-waving criminals are covering trees, branches and lampposts with small jerseys and scarves under the cover of darkness. Police say the knitted activities of the gang are illegal because their woolly crimes are being done on public property. Without permission, the popularity of the woolen graffiti is growing and more public objects are being wrapped up every night. But the problem is growing. Police say and warn that if the Midnight Knitters aren't caught soon, every tree, lamppost and traffic light in the country will be warmly dressed against the cold. The problem is spinning out of control. There are a close-knit group of dyed-in-the-wool criminals. We are stitching together a case, but it's not seamless. There is no real pattern to the crime. A police spokesman said today, so far the criminal knitters have escaped arrest and continue to pull the wool over the eye of both the public and the police. We go now to a secret location with our investigative reporter Cameron, who has an exclusive interview with some of the Midnight Knitters gang.
Thanks, Tristan. I'm Cameron, and joining me in this top secret location is two members of the Midnight Knitters gang. Hello and thanks for joining us. What led you into the dark underworld of knitted graffiti?
My nan used to do it and it looked fun. Yeah, she said.
Do you see yourself as a criminal? Why?
Because it's not a crime.
It's a sport. Apart from trees, lampposts and traffic lights, what else would you like to graffiti with your woolens?
Cows, keep them warm.
And houses.
Why do you think this is a sport?
Because it's fun and it exercises your fingers.
Thanks for your time. We now go over to Deepesh with the weather update.
Thank you, Cameron, and good evening, New Zealand. Let's have a look at tomorrow's weather. Starting in the far north in Kaitaia, looking at for some pretty flash flooding and raindrops as big as your head. If you're going outside, wear a hat. Moving down to Auckland, there will be a mix of fair conditions and unfair conditions, but those are the conditions and you'll just have to accept them. There will be no weather at all for the Bay of Plenty if it's taking a short holiday, but is expected to be back for the weekend in Napier and Hastings. The weather will sometimes be changeable and sometimes not. We have really no idea what will happen there. In Taranaki, a mild depression brings with a very dull day, with no highlights at all. It'll be overcast and glooming all morning, but things should cheer up by the evening, so don't worry. Everything will be fine. Wellington will have another capital day. There will be no wind at all, and the day conditions will be so pleasant they'll actually be extreme. In the top of the South Island, Kaikoura can expect to have a good day, meeting friends for lunch, going for a swim and reading the newspaper. But try to stay indoors as the weather will be just terrible. A real mix for Christchurch, which will have some unreasonable rainfall, some sensible wind, moderate thunderstorms, and some very angry snow. And in the lower south, Dunedin will be frosty, cold and unfriendly until late morning, when the sun will pop over for a visit. Everybody likes the sun. That's all from us. Remember, if it's raining outside, that's the weather for you. Good night, New Zealand. Now it's back to the desk with Tristan and Shorty.
Thanks, Deepesh. Well, that's all we have time for. We hope you enjoyed this evening's broadcast.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Until then,
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Shorty for Rere News. Goodbye.
E no hora.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.
Scene 1, take 1. Scene 1, take 2. Take 2.